Yan Luoyun, you certainly know how to overestimate yourself, don't you? A bottom feeder, an airhead like you, dares to dream of me? Listen closely. The type of girl I like is gentle and understanding like Songya, not a superficial trophy, using money to oppress others like you. Raucous laughter erupted around me. I opened my eyes, greeted by the smug, punchable face of a male student. He stood at the front of the classroom, clutching a pink envelope, loudly reading every word inside with a mocking tone. Beside him stood a girl with long black hair, her eyes brimming with tears. Her expression was full of feigned apology, a classic white lotus from Legends. Memories flooded back like a torrent. Holy crap, I transmigrated. Awesome. A fresh start in life, haha. I had Zion into the body of the wealthy young lady Yan Luoyun, the vicious, brain-dead supporting character in the high school romance novel, The Cinderella Prince's Love. The original owner had a net worth of billions, beauty that could topple nations, and even had a crush on the academic prodigy Xiao Yizhou, the campus god coveted by the entire school. But no, she was brain-damaged and infatuated with the ambitious poor phoenix man, Qin Yu. She spent all her time clinging to him, showering him with money, only to be ruthlessly trampled upon by him and the female lead, Songya. This was the classic scene where the original owner wrote a love letter to Qin Yu, who then publicly humiliated her in front of the whole school to elevate his own status and curry favor with the female lead. I let out a laugh, my cold laughter abruptly silencing the noisy room. I stood up, pushing my chair back with a grating screech. Under the astonished gazes of the entire class, I casually walked up to the podium. Qin Yu saw me approaching and curled his lip in a sneer. What, going to cry and beg me to stop reading? Too late. A girl who doesn't know her place like you. Smack. A crisp sound echoed. Qin Yu's face snapped to the side, and the entire class gasped. Songya let out a choked cry, covering her mouth. I snatched the love letter from his hand, tore it into tiny pieces, and flung them directly at his face. The pink fragments fluttered down like summer snow. Are you awake yet? I dusted off my hands as if I'd just touched something filthy. Qin Yu, where do you get the confidence to think I like you? Look in the mirror. Your face is covered in acne, your teeth are yellow, your height is modest, your grades are stuck in the bottom 50, and your family background. Well, I won't mention it, I don't want to make you feel inferior. Do you think I, Yan Luoyun, am blind? Qin Yu clutched his face, his eyes wide as if they might pop out. You dared to hit me? This letter, obviously. This letter was my practice draft for a literature assignment. Did you rummage through my desk without permission and then fantasize about your own importance? I cut him off, my voice sharp. Rummaging through someone's personal belongings is illegal. Do you want me to call a lawyer and sue you for invasion of privacy and harassment? You're lying. Clearly, you asked Songya to give it to me. Qin Yu roared, pointing a finger at Songya. Songya flinched, tears instantly falling in a perfectly choreographed industrial flow. Yan, I just wanted to help you. Why are you lying? I turned to look at Songya. Tisk, the Oscars owe this girl a golden statue. I took a step closer to Songya. She instinctively recoiled in fear. I reached out not to strike, but to gently smooth the collar of her uniform. Songya, that handbag you're carrying, isn't it a first-grade knockoff, worth 200 yuan bought on Taobao? And these shoes, they're last year's outdated style that I threw away. Did you pick them up? Songya's face flushed crimson, then turned ashen white. The class began to buzz with whispers. You're insulting my dignity, Songya sobbed. Insulting? I scoffed, leaning close to her ear and whispering, loud enough for the whole class to hear. How much is your dignity worth? You accept financial aid from my family, and then you go around slandering me everywhere, calling me a foolish rich girl. You call that dignity? That's called biting the hand that feeds you, understand? Enough, Qin Yu yelled, lunging at me. Yan Luoyun, you're relying on your family's wealth to bully people too much. Apologize to Songya right now. I raised an eyebrow, but before I could react, a tall, dark figure blocked my front. The cool scent of mint wafted into my nose. A slender hand with distinct knuckles seized Qin Yu's raised wrist and twisted it backward. Qin Yu screamed in agony. It's Xiao Yizhou, the academic god of #1 high school, the cold heartthrob, and the biggest golden thigh that the original owner had missed out on. He wore a slightly disheveled uniform, his tie loosened, his hair a bit messy as if he'd just woken up. His narrow, phoenix-like eyes behind gold-rimmed glasses looked at Qin Yu as if he were a dead ant. Too noisy, his voice was low and hoarse, carrying a hint of sleepiness and intense killing intent. Do you want to die? Xiao Yizhou? Qin Yu trembled, his face devoid of color. In this school, offending the principal might leave a path to survival, but offending Prince Xiao meant packing up and leaving the city. Xiao Yizhou flung Qin Yu's hand away, then calmly pulled out a wet wipe from his pocket and meticulously cleaned each of his fingers, his movements elegant but utterly humiliating. He turned to look at me, his gaze deep and inscrutable. I swallowed. In the original story, Xiao Yizhou had been completely disappointed with the original owner by this point. I had to turn the situation around immediately. Instead of retreating, I took a step forward, wrapped my arm around his firm bicep, and looked up at him with a radiant smile. "Hey Joe, you're awake. Did I wake you up with all the noise?" Xiao Yizhou's body stiffened. The entire class gaped. Previously, Yan Luoyun had always avoided Xiao Yizhou like the plague, calling him iceberg and the hateful one. This was the first time I had initiated such intimacy in front of everyone. Xiao Yizhou lowered his head to look at me, his gaze scrutinizing. "Yan Luoyun, did you take the wrong medicine?" "Of course not," I blinked, my voice sweet. "I just suddenly realized that real gold doesn't like a lump of clay. I really was blind before. Look at Qin Yu compared to you. Is there any part of him that can even compare to your toenail?" The corner of Xiao Yizhou's lips twitched slightly, and his ears turned a faint red. He pulled his arm away but didn't push me far, only lightly tapped my forehead. "It's good that you know, just don't embarrass me." Qin Yu, publicly humiliated, turned his anger into rage. "Yan Luoyun, you're a slut. Do you think clinging to Xiao Yizhou is so great? A dunce like you, Xiao Yizhou is just playing with you. The monthly exam is coming up. If you're not at the bottom of the class, I'll walk on my head." I released Xiao Yizhou, crossed my arms over my chest, and fixed Qin Yu with a sharp gaze. "Let's make a bet. In the upcoming monthly exam, if I rank higher than you have to kneel at the school gate, bark like a dog, and shout, 'I am scum, I am not fit to carry Yan Luoyun's shoes.' Dare to play." The class erupted in gasps of astonishment. Yan Luoyun is crazy. Qin Yu was still in the top 50 of his grade, while Yan Luoyun was in the bottom 50, counting from the bottom up. The gap was an ocean. Songya hurriedly grabbed Qin Yu's arm, feigning to stop him, but actually adding fuel to the fire. "Qin Yu, don't. Yan is just angry, she can't win." Hearing that, Qin Yu's competitive spirit flared. "Fine, I accept. And if you lose, you have to publicly apologize to Songya over the school's loudspeaker and withdraw from school, disappearing from here." "Deal," I snapped my fingers. I turned to Xiao Yizhou, who was looking at me with a "what trick are you up to now?" expression, and winked. "My academic god, I'll trouble you to tutor me for a while. The remuneration is yours to decide." Xiao Yizhou pushed up his glasses, a dangerous glint in his eyes. A rare, mischievous smile played on his lips. "Mine to decide, Yan Luoyun, are you sure?" I shivered, feeling like I'd just sold myself to a wolf. But looking at that absurdly handsome face, I secretly thought, losing to him wouldn't be so bad. Absolutely. That evening, I truly understood the meaning of digging your own grave. Xiao Yizhou didn't take me home, but dragged me straight to his room. The Xiao family villa and the Yan family villa were right next to each other. The balconies of our two rooms were connected. When I was little, I used to climb over to his room to steal cookies. "Sit down." Xiao Yizhou tossed a stack of thick reference books, almost as tall as my head, onto the table. I swallowed. "Hey Joe, are you planning to feed me books instead of food? The monthly exam is only 2 weeks away. If you cram this much, I'll have a mental breakdown." Xiao Yizhou slowly untied his tie, loosened the top button of his shirt, revealing his captivating collarbone. He leaned his hands on the table, bending down to press me against the chair, so close I could count his individual eyelashes. "Yan Luoyun, you were so bold in front of the whole school, now are you going to back out?" His voice was deep, carrying a teasing hint of laughter. Barking like a dog isn't that hard, or maybe you want to practice first. My face flushed with anger. I pushed his chest. Who's backing out? I'll study, but how are we calculating the remuneration? Xiao Yizhou raised an eyebrow, his gaze sweeping over my lips before settling on my eyes, which were sparkling with indignation. He leaned down close to my ear and whispered, his hot breath brushing against my sensitive earlobe. 1 math problem wrong, 1 flick on the forehead. 10 problems wrong, 1 kiss. My eyes widened. When did this guy become such a rogue? Just kidding. He straightened up, lightly tapped my head, his expression returning to its usual coldness. 10 problems wrong, run 10 laps around the field. I don't teach pigs. I was speechless, as expected of the sharp-tongued academic god, but Xiao Yizhou didn't know that the current Yan Luoyun was not the superficial trophy of the past. In my previous life, I had thrived in the business world. Although much of my high school knowledge had faded, my logical thinking remained intact. I picked up my pen and began to solve the problems. At first, it was a bit awkward, but the more I worked, the more enthusiastic I became. Numbers and formulas danced in my head, perfectly rearranging themselves. Xiao Yizhou sat beside me, reading a book, but his eyes occasionally darted over. From his initial indifference, his sword-like eyebrows gradually furrowed. Done. 30 minutes later, I tossed my pen down, stretching luxuriously. Xiao Yizhou picked up my work. The room was utterly silent, save for the rustling of paper. How is it? Did I have to run any laps? I smugly wiggled my leg. Xiao Yizhou placed the paper down, staring at me as if I were an alien monster. All correct, he said, his voice tinged with disbelief. The solution to the last problem is even more concise than the standard answer. Yan Luoyun, are you hiding your skills? Hiding what? I propped my chin on my hand, blinking at him. It's just that before, I was too busy with my blind infatuation and too lazy to use my brain. Now that I've turned over a new leaf, my intelligence naturally unlocked. Xiao Yizhou let out a soft HMPH, but the corner of his lips curved up distinctly. He ruffled my hair. Good, then let's speed things up. The goal isn't just to beat Qin Yu, but to get into the top 10. Top 10, I shrieked. Are you trying to kill me? Top 10, and I'll grant you one wish, Xiao Yizhou said calmly. Any wish, my heart pounded. Any wish, even making him my bed warmer. Deal, my competitive spirit, asterisk asterisk, my aggressive spirit flared up again. The next morning, rumors spread through the school like wildfire that I was keeping Xiao Yizhou as a sugar baby to buy grades. Have you heard? Yan Luoyun stayed in academic god Xiao's room until midnight last night. She must have used money to force academic god Xiao to do her homework. How else could a dunce like her dare to make a bet? Poor Qin Yu is being suppressed by capitalist power. As I walked into the classroom, my eyes were met with a messy desk. Textbooks ripped to shreds, red ink spilled all over the surface. On it, scrawled in correction fluid, were the words, "Get out of school, thick-skinned whore." Songya, sitting at the desk in front, turned around, her face fearful, but with a hint of schadenfreude in her eyes. Yan, I saw this when I came in early. Someone must be really upset. Don't take it to heart. I looked at the mess, then at Songya. Her hand had a tiny red ink stain that she hadn't managed to wash off completely. Upset? I laughed coldly, slamming my school bag onto the teacher's desk. Bang, I walked straight to Songya, grabbed her collar, and lifted her up like a baby chick. Ah, what are you doing? Songya shrieked, flailing her arms and legs. What am I doing? Teaching you how to be a human being. I dragged her to my desk, pushed her head down into the messy red ink. Look closely. The ink on my desk and the ink on your hand are the same kind, the same smell. Do you think washing your hands hastily after spilling ink will get rid of all the evidence? The hallway camera recorded it this morning. Do you want me to extract the footage for the whole school to see? Songya's face turned pale. She stammered, denying everything. No, I didn't. You're slandering me. Yan Luoyun, stop right there. Qin Yu burst into the classroom like a god, though more like a madman intending to push me away and rescue his damsel. But before he could even touch me, a thick book flew past, hitting him squarely on the shoulder. Thwack! Qin Yu staggered back. Xiao Yizhou stood at the back door, hands in his pockets, his face as cold as ice. Too noisy. Are you putting on a show so early in the morning? He walked in, not sparing Qin Yu a glance, and directly pulled out a wet wipe to clean my hands, even though they weren't dirty. Then he turned to look at the messy desk. Filthy, he frowned. Then, under the horrified gaze of the entire class, Xiao Yizhou kicked Qin Yu's desk hard. Crash! Qin Yu's desk collapsed, books, pens, and rulers scattering everywhere. Xiao Yizhou, what are you doing? Qin Yu yelled, his face red with anger, but not daring to fight back. Switching desks, Xiao Yizhou said nonchalantly. Yan Luoyun's desk was defiled by a dog. You give her your desk. After all, you like to be a messenger of justice, protecting the weak, so a little sacrifice won't hurt, right? Qin Yu was speechless. Xiao Yizhou turned to me, his tone changing 180 degrees, becoming surprisingly gentle. You can temporarily sit at my desk. I moved to the last row. I looked at his perfect profile, screaming internally, oh my God, my childhood sweetheart is cooler than legally allowed. I tilted my chin, looking at the trembling Song Ya and the choked Qin Yu. Did you hear that? The owner of this desk has spoken. Hurry up and clean up your mess. The incident ended with Song Ya crying as she cleaned my desk under the supervision of the class president, a hardcore fan of Xiao Yizhou. Qin Yu sullenly squatted down, picking up his books. At lunch in the cafeteria, Xiao Yizhou and I sat eating. He picked out all the scallions from my bowl and transferred them to his, then gave me all the lean meat. His movements were fluid, like second nature. Eat more, it's good for your brain. I was gnawing on a rib when I heard whispers from the next table. I heard this month's exam will be really hard. The principal personally designed it to weed out students out. Then Yan Luoyun is definitely dead meat. No matter how good academic God Xiao is, he can't conjure her from the bottom of the class to the top in 2 weeks. I stopped chewing and looked up at Xiao Yizhou. Zhou, is this news true? Xiao Yizhou calmly sipped his soup. True. The exam questions are from last year's university entrance exam pool. The difficulty has doubled. Oh no, the 82nd calamity. Scared? Xiao Yizhou curled his lip. If you're scared, you can still run to the school gate and bark woof woof now. Who's scared? I slammed the table. The harder, the more fun. I'll show them the power of knowledge. Xiao Yizhou chuckled, his eyes filled with an indulgence he didn't even realize. Good. Then come to my room tonight. I have a special curriculum for you. I shivered. Xiao Yizhou's special curriculum sounds dangerously enticing. But I didn't expect the real danger not to come from the exam questions, but from a much more despicable trap that Qin Yu and Song Ya had set. That afternoon, just before the mock math exam, I was called to the faculty office by the invigilator. The reason? Suspected exam leak, and the evidence was found in my desk. Thwack, a crumpled piece of paper was slammed onto the shiny desk. Mr. Liu, the head of the grade level, known as a henchman of the faction that despised rich students, pounded the table and roared, Yan Luoyun, explain why the answers to this afternoon's math exam were found in your desk. I glanced at the crumpled paper. It was covered with numbers and hastily scrawled A, B, C, D answers. Besides me and Mr. Liu, the match made in heaven couple, Qin Yu and Song Ya, were also present in the office. Song Ya stood clinging to Qin Yu's back, her eyes red like a startled rabbit, her voice trembling. Mr. Liu, it must be a misunderstanding. Yan, though not good at studies, surely wouldn't dare to cheat. Although, this morning, I did see her secretly stuffing something into her desk. Ha, premium green tea bitch. 1 mention of misunderstanding, 2 mentions of secretly stuffing, directly nailing the crime onto my head. Qin Yu immediately followed up, his face full of righteousness. Yeah, don't cover for her. It's clear she's afraid of losing the bet, afraid of having to bark like a dog, so she used money to buy the answers. Mr. Liu, this kind of cancerous student needs to be expelled immediately to set an example. I calmly pulled the chair opposite Mr. Liu and sat down, crossing my legs, my demeanor like an empress evaluating a project. Are you done talking? I curled my lip. Mr. Liu's face turned purple with anger. What's with your attitude? The evidence is undeniable. Are you still trying to deny it? I picked up the answer sheet, scanned it, and then chuckled disdainfully. Mr. Liu, you've been teaching math for 20 years. Is there something wrong with your eyes or has your brain stopped updating? Look closely. Question 40, the answer is C, but this paper says A. Question 50, solving exponential equations. This paper writes the formula for the volume of a pyramid. Is this an answer sheet for a math exam or the scrap paper of some intellectually challenged person? The room fell completely silent. Mr. Liu hurriedly snatched the paper. He compared it to the original exam in the safe, and beads of sweat began to roll down his forehead. Songya's face turned pale. She was quite good at studying, but this exam was university level. How could she have correctly solved everything to create a fake cheat sheet? She had only intended to randomly stuff a paper with writing on it to frame me. This, Mr. Liu stammered. Can't say anything? I stood up and walked closer to Songya. She instinctively retreated. Songya, having a low IQ isn't a crime, but having a low IQ and trying to harm others is a crime. If you want to frame someone, you should at least put some brainpower into it. You copied answers from last year's exam and put them here. Who were you trying to fool? I don't know, it wasn't me. Songya panicked, turning to Qin Yu for help. Qin Yu was speechless but still tried to argue stubbornly. Even if the answers are wrong, the fact that she possessed a cheat sheet is true. The intention to cheat is clear. Crash, the door to the faculty office was kicked open. Xiao Yizhou walked in, followed by the school principal, a kind-looking middle-aged man who was currently pale as a ghost, fearing young master Xiao's wrath. Who said she cheated? The principal asked. Xiao Yizhou walked to my side, his oppressive aura making Mr. Liu almost fall to his knees. He didn't look at anyone, only bent down to adjust my slightly askew collar. His voice was so gentle it sent shivers down one's spine. Why didn't you call me when you were being bullied? I can handle it myself, I shrugged. They're just a few stray cats who like to scratch. Xiao Yizhou turned to Mr. Liu, his eyes as sharp as a scalpel. Mr. Liu, you slander students without verifying. I think you should retire early and enjoy your golden years. You young Master Xiao, Mr. Liu trembled like a leaf. The principal quickly interjected. Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. Yan Luoyun, you can go take your exam as usual. Hold on, I raised my hand to stop him. If I just walked away like this, the bad reputation of cheating but being covered up would follow me forever. I had to nip it in the bud. Principal, I don't need leniency. I looked directly into the principal's eyes, my voice firm. I demand a solo exam right here, right now. You personally supervise. Cameras on 24/7, live streaming to the big screen in the schoolyard for all students to see. I will prove to everyone, does Yan Luoyun need to cheat? This, the principal hesitated, such a big gamble. Qin Yu scoffed. Fine, let's see how long you can keep up the act. Don't go crying and giving up after 10 minutes. Xiao Yizhou looked at me, a flicker of admiration in his eyes. He pulled out a chair for me. Go ahead, I'll guard the door for you. Any fly that dares to bother you, I'll swat it dead. 10 minutes later, the giant LED screen in the schoolyard, usually used for announcements, was now live streaming the scene in the faculty office. Students from all grades flocked to watch. On the screen, I sat alone at a desk, pen in hand, my face emotionless. Around me, the principal and 3 core math teachers stood with their arms crossed, supervising. The exam papers were distributed. I took a deep breath. The knowledge Xiao Yizhou had crammed into me for the past 2 weeks, combined with the logical thinking of a stock market empress from my previous life, began to kick in. I wasn't just solving problems, I was sweeping through them. Question 1, done. Question 2, done. My speed was so fast that the camera had to zoom in to clearly see the tip of my pen gliding across the paper. The students outside gasped. Oh my God, is that a human or a machine? She must be guessing. I wanted to cry after reading the first question. Look, she's not using scratch paper. Is she doing mental math? Inside the exam room, the math teachers' expressions began to change. They huddled together, whispering. Their gazes at me shifted from suspicion to astonishment and finally to utter shock. 45 minutes passed. I put down my pen and submitted my paper. I stood up and pushed the exam paper towards the principal. Please grade it now. I'm hungry and want to go eat with Xiao Yizhou. The principal trembled as he took the exam. The other teachers also crowded around. The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. 5 minutes later, the principal looked up, removed his glasses to wipe the sweat from his brow, his voice hoarse with emotion. 150 out of 150 points. A perfect score, and the solutions are even better than the answer key. Over the loudspeaker, the results were announced to the entire school. The schoolyard erupted. Oh my God, is Yan Luoyun a hidden prodigy? Even academic god Xiao could only get 150 points at best. Qin Yu is finished. Get ready to bark like a dog. In the faculty office, Qin Yu collapsed into a chair, his face devoid of color. He mumbled, "Impossible, impossible." She must have known the questions beforehand. Known the questions beforehand? Xiao Yizhou walked over, throwing the original exam paper in his face. This exam was just printed by the principal from a computer with a 3-layer password security. How do you suggest she knew? Are you saying she hacked the principal's computer? I walked in front of Qin Yu, bent down, and patted his pale cheek. Qin Yu, remember our bet? I'll see you tomorrow at recess by the school gate. Remember to practice your barking. Don't disappoint me. Then I turned to Songya, who was trembling in the corner of the room. And you? I leaned close to her ear, my voice a demonic whisper. That cheat sheet, I'll have the police examine it for fingerprints. If your fingerprints are on it, prepare for court on charges of slander. Oh, right, your family doesn't have money to hire a lawyer, so you'll probably have to sell your house to compensate me for my damaged reputation. Upon hearing the words court, Songya's eyes rolled back. This time it was a genuine faint. She collapsed to the floor like a sack of rice. Qin Yu panicked, rushing to support her. Yeah, he turned to me and roared. She's fainted. Are you satisfied now? You're a devil. Devil? I leaned down, looking him straight in the eye. Qin Yu, compared to what you two intended to do to me destroy my reputation, get me expelled, what is this little punishment? I'm just teaching you a basic lesson. Never mess with people you're not capable of playing against. Get out. Don't let me see your faces in this school again. Qin Yu gritted his teeth, scooped up Songya, and pushed through the crowd, fleeing in haste. The jeers and catcalls followed him. I let out a sigh of relief, feeling as if a 1,000-pound burden had been lifted. Suddenly, a warm hand enveloped mine. Xiao Yizhou pulled me away, separating us from the noisy crowd. He led me to the rooftop of the library building, the most secluded and quietest place in school. The wind whipped, making the hem of his white shirt flutter. Are you satisfied? He asked, handing me a bottle of mineral water with the cap already twisted open. More or less. I took a gulp of water, but I still don't feel quite satisfied. That Qin Yu definitely won't let this go. He won't have the chance to. Xiao Yizhou leaned against the railing, his gaze distant. The Qin family conglomerate was investigated by the tax bureau this morning. Their stock is plummeting. His father is too busy trying to keep his position. He doesn't have time to worry about his precious son. I choked on my water. What was that you're doing? Xiao Yizhou turned to look at me, his face innocent. What did I do? I'm just a well-behaved high school student. It's probably just early karma for being unethical. I looked at his harmless, benevolent smile, which in reality was dangerous, and felt a chill run down my spine. This guy really is the final boss. Mess with me, and he'll bankrupt their entire family. Hey, Joe, I called timidly. Ahem. You're too scary. Xiao Yizhou walked closer, pressing me against the wall again, always pressing me against walls. What a passionate hobby. His hands braced on either side, trapping me within his chest. Are you scared of me? He leaned down, his voice deep and dangerous. Scared I'll eat you. My heart pounded erratically. The distance was too close, his minty scent enveloped me. No, not scared, I stammered. You're my childhood sweetheart. Just a childhood sweetheart. Xiao Yizhou lowered his head even further, his lips brushing lightly against my earlobe, whispering a sentence that froze me. Yan Luoyun, I don't want to be your childhood sweetheart anymore. I want to be the father of your children. Huh? What did he say? Where did this guy learn such cheesy yet highly impactful pickup lines? Just as the ambiguous atmosphere reached its peak, my phone vibrated intensely in my pocket, shattering the mood. I quickly pushed Xiao Yizhou away, pulling out my phone. It's my dad calling. Hello, Dad. On the other end, my dad's voice was more panicked than I'd ever heard. Xiaoyan, come home right now, something big has happened. The conglomerate's data has been attacked. The entire financial system has been paralyzed. My face changed color. Is the original plot finally happening? But much earlier than expected. Xiao Yizhou saw my pale face and immediately grabbed my hand. What's wrong? Something's happened at my house, I said, trembling. Zhou, I have to go back right away. I'm coming with you. Xiao Yizhou didn't hesitate for a second, pulling my hand and running straight down the stairs. The Xiao family's Maybach raced like a wild beast on the highway, ignoring all red lights. Xiao Yizhou sat beside me, one hand gripping mine tightly, the other typing furiously on the latest model laptop he just pulled from the trunk. The black screen displayed lines of code, scrambling at dizzying speed. The situation is worse than expected. His voice was calm, but still betrayed tension. Yan Corporation's triple-layered firewall has been breached. The hacker is installing ransomware to lock down all financial data. If we don't stop it in 15 minutes, all of Yan Corporation's capital will vanish. I clenched my fist. 15 minutes. In my previous life, I died from overwork, also during a financial crisis like this. The helpless feeling of seeing red numbers on the screen came rushing back. But this time, I'm not fighting alone. Zhou, can you infiltrate the system's back door? I asked, my eyes glued to his laptop screen. Xiao Yizhou turned to look at me, a flicker of surprise in his eyes. You know hacking? A little, I curled my lip. Don't forget, I just got 150 points in math. Programming logic comes from math, after all. All right, I'll clear the path, you handle the loopholes. 10 minutes later, at Yan Corporation headquarters, the cybersecurity room was a chaotic mess. Alarm bells blared, dozens of sweating IT engineers yelled into their phones, furiously typing on keyboards but to no avail. My father, Yan Zhenshin, a man who commanded respect in the business world, now stood leaning on the table, his face beet red, his tie askew. I fed you all, you're all useless. They're about to swallow 5 billion yuan and you're still saying you're trying. Chairman, the opponent is too strong. This is the notorious international hacker group Shadow Ghosts. The head of it reported, trembling. Crash, the door burst open. Xiao Yizhou and I rushed in. Dad, move. I didn't have time to explain, darting straight to the central server. The head of IT saw me and frowned, intending to stop me. Young miss, this isn't a place for games. Don't make more trouble. Get out. Before I could open my mouth, Xiao Yizhou coldly roared. He pushed the head of the department aside with one hand and with the other pulled a chair for me in front of the main screen. Do it. Anyone who dares to stop her, I'll cut off their hands. Xiao Yizhou's overwhelming presence silenced the entire IT department. My father's eyes widened. Xiaoyan, my daughter, I trust you this time. I looked at my dad, my eyes firm. I placed my hands on the keyboard, the familiar sensation washing over me. This is my battlefield. My 10 fingers danced across the keyboard like a piano virtuoso playing a complex piece. My typing speed was so fast it created afterimages. Lines of blocking commands were established, virtual firewalls erected layer by layer. Zhou, on the left, IP 192.168, blocked. Xiao Yizhou sat at the adjacent computer, coordinating with me with frightening synergy. He didn't need me to finish a sentence to know what I needed. It's releasing data-corroding viruses, an IT employee shouted. Corroding, I scoffed. Let's see whose teeth are harder, theirs or my firewall. I typed a complex string of commands, activating a honey trap to lure the virus into a quarantine zone. Then I deployed a self-written antivirus software on the spot. The surrounding employees gasped, their eyes wide. Oh my God, is that C++ or Python? The structure is so strange. At that speed, is she even human? The young miss knows how to hack. 5 minutes passed. The status bar on the large screen turned from red to yellow and finally green. Done. I hit enter forcefully. Viruses completely eliminated, 100% data recovered. The room erupted in cheers. My father was so excited he almost jumped, rushing to embrace me. Oh my God, my daughter, my genius, my savior. but Xiao Yizhou quickly pulled me towards him, leaving my father to hug thin air. "Uncle Yan, it's not over yet," Xiao Yizhou said calmly, his eyes still glued to the screen. "Defense is done, now it's time for offense. Give and take, that's fair." I raised an eyebrow at Xiao Yizhou. "This guy holds grudges just like me. Can you trace them?" I asked. "Easy as pie." Xiao Yizhou typed a few commands. A world map appeared on the large screen, a red dot blinking continuously, moving from Europe to Asia, then shrinking and stopping right in the city. More specifically, at the Qin family villa. Bingo, I snapped my fingers, a cold smile on my face. The Qin family really went all out, daring to hire international hackers for a bloody fight. But, Xiao Yizhou narrowed his eyes, where did they get the money? The Qin family's accounts are frozen, remember. I thought for a moment, then remembered a detail from the original story. Qin Yu had a mysterious adopted older brother abroad, specializing in money laundering. Zhou, hack into the Qin family's security cameras. Xiao Yizhou nodded. 30 seconds later, images from the Qin family living room camera appeared clearly on the large conference room screen. In the image, Qin Yu sat on the sofa, his leg tightly bandaged from being dragged earlier, holding his phone and laughing maniacally. "Ha ha ha ha, Dai Yan Luoyun, this time your family is definitely bankrupt. I'll watch you kneel and beg me." His father, Elder Qin, paced back and forth, his face worried. "Are you sure no one will find out?" The money to hire the Shadow Ghosts group was borrowed from loan sharks, a very dangerous source. "Don't worry, Dad, they're top-tier hackers, no one will trace them." My family's IT department shook their heads in dismay, looking at the screen. "Qin Yu, you're not just stupid, you're also unlucky." "Uncle Yan," Xiao Yizhou turned to my father. "Is this evidence enough to send the entire Qin family to jail for good?" My father's face hardened, his business acumen flaring. "More than enough. Daring to touch my precious daughter? I'll make sure they get life imprisonment." My father immediately called the police department and the city's most formidable legal team. I let out a sigh of relief, leaning back in my chair. The tension subsided and exhaustion washed over me. My hands trembled slightly. Suddenly, a warm hand enveloped mine, gently rubbing my knuckles. "Does your hand hurt?" Xiao Yizhou asked, his voice so gentle it melted my heart. "A little tired," I whined. "When we get home, you can give me a massage." Ahem. My father, standing nearby, coughed violently. "You too, tone it down a bit. This is a company, not a lover's park." I blushed and pulled my hand back, but Xiao Yizhou, thick-skinned as ever, stood up and declared his ownership. "Uncle Yan, the problem is solved. I'll take Yan Luoyun home to rest. She's tired." My father waved his hand. Go. You two did a great job today. I'll grant you anything you want." "Oh, and Xiao Yizhou." My father looked at Xiao Yizhou with the gaze of a father-in-law admiring his son-in-law, liking him more and more. "You're so capable. How about you take over Yan Corporation after this? Xiaoyan is lazy. I'm afraid she can't handle it." "Me? Dad, are you selling your daughter off so quickly?" Xiao Yizhou bowed respectfully, a smug smile playing on his lips. "Thank you for your trust, uncle. I will seriously consider merging our two corporations. As for a betrothal gift, I will prepare it meticulously." My eyes widened. Merging, betrothal gift. He scooped me up princess style right in front of dozens of employees. Zhou, put me down. There are so many people." I lightly punched his chest. "No," Xiao Yizhou walked steadily, whispering in my ear. "You hacked into my heart a little too deep just now, young Miss Yan. Now you have to take responsibility." I buried my head in his chest, listening to his strong heartbeat through his shirt. The faint minty scent strangely calmed me. Fine, take responsibility, who's scared? But I didn't expect the collapse of the Qin family to be just the first domino. Qin Yu's mysterious adopted older brother abroad was the real final boss, and he had already started to pay attention to me. On the computer screen that Xiao Yizhou had just turned off, a tiny red line of code blinked in a hidden corner, sending out a tracking signal. Target, Yan Luoyun. Location, found. The Qin family collapsed faster than my laptop battery dying. The next morning, the news rocked the entire city. Chairman Qin was arrested for money laundering and tax evasion. Qin Yu was indicted for illegal intrusion into corporate data and hiring hackers to attack national cybersecurity. Songya, the white lotus of yesterday, was immediately expelled from school. I heard her father's creditors took her to work at a bar to pay off debts. I sat in the classroom, looking at Qin Yu's empty seat, feeling not a ripple in my heart. You reap what you sow. What are you thinking about? Xiao Yizhou lightly tapped my forehead with his pen, pulling me back to reality. Thinking about what to eat to celebrate, I grinned. Hot pot, Korean barbecue, beef galbi. Eat you, Xiao Yizhou blurted out, his face expressionless. I choked on my saliva. You. Xiao Yizhou curled his lip, leaning close to my ear. I mean, eat what you like. Your mind is too dirty, Yan Luoyun. My face flushed crimson. This guy's teasing skills are getting more refined every day. That afternoon, on the way home from school, my Rolls-Royce suddenly broke down. I later learned it was sabotage. So Xiao Yizhou gave me a ride home on his cool, high-powered motorcycle. It started to rain, the coastal road was deserted, and the roar of the engine ripped through the downpour. Hey Joe, I think someone's following us. I hugged Xiao Yizhou tightly around the waist, shouting over the wind, my eyes fixed on the rearview mirror. Two black, unmarked SUVs silently trailed us like sharks sensing blood. I know, Xiao Yizhou's voice remained strangely calm. Hold on tight. Whoosh, Xiao Yizhou suddenly accelerated, the motorcycle shooting forward like an arrow. The two black cars behind also sped up, pressing in on both sides. A man in one car rolled down the window, aiming a suppressed gun at us. Bang! A bullet grazed Xiao Yizhou's jacket sleeve, embedding itself in a lamppost with a shower of sparks. Damn it, they're using live rounds, I cursed. Is this a society governed by law or a Hollywood action movie? Don't be scared. Xiao Yizhou leaned the bike, dodging a head-on collision from the car on the left. Xiaoyan, get my phone from my jacket pocket, open the red app, and press the SOS button. I nervously reached into his pocket, pulling out a sleek black phone. The red app had a wolf logo. I pressed the button and immediately the screen displayed. Protocol Alpha activated. Target locked. Hey Joe, are you Agent 7? I gasped. Wife, focus on the task. Ahead was a sharp turn leading to an abandoned dock. The two black cars seemed intent on forcing us into the sea. They're people from the ruthless wolf, Qin Yu's adopted brother, Xiao Yizhou said quickly. He's a notorious arms dealer on the southwest border. Qin Yu foolishly dragged him into this. Now he wants to kidnap you to ransom your father and recover the money laundering data we accidentally blocked yesterday. So that's it, careful, I yelled. The car on the right suddenly cut us off. Xiao Yizhou slammed on the brakes, the rear wheels skidding across the wet road. We tumbled off, rolling several times. Xiao Yizhou held me tightly, using his back as a cushion to protect me. Ah! He let out a soft groan of pain. Hey Joe, are you okay? I gasped, seeing blood seeping from his arm. The two black cars stopped. Four tall, burly men in black suits and sunglasses got out, armed with weapons. The one in front, with a long scar on his face, grinned sinisterly. Young Miss Yan, young Master Xiao, please come with us. Big Brother Ruthless is waiting. I helped Xiao Yizhou up, both of us drenched by the rain. I glanced at the four men, then at Xiao Yizhou. Despite his injury, he stood tall, his imposing aura undiminished. Want to capture us? I scoffed, brushing my wet hair back, revealing a sharp, cold face. Have you asked my bodyguard yet? Bodyguard? The scarred man laughed heartily. In this godforsaken place, you're calling on spirits for bodyguards. Before he finished speaking, bang! A bullet, seemingly from nowhere, shot through his car tire. The thudding of a helicopter echoed overhead and powerful spotlights shone down, blinding the scarred men. From the darkness, dozens of shadowy figures rappelled down from the helicopter, fully armed. Leading them was a man in a sophisticated black suit who bowed to Xiao Yizhou. Young master, your subordinate arrived late. Please punish me. Xiao Yizhou removed his glasses, wiped a trace of blood from the corner of his lip. His eyes had completely changed. He was no longer a high school student, but a true emperor. Clean them up, keep the leader alive. The scarred men's faces went white. Young master, the Xiao family, aren't they just in real estate? I was equally bewildered. Xiao Yizhou, young master. Xiaoyan, Xiao Yizhou turned to me, smiling gently. But in this situation, that smile was somewhat unnerving. Sorry for hiding it from you. My family does *do real estate, but it's *underground real estate. So the Xiao family is a hidden underground syndicate boss, masquerading as legitimate businessmen. The battle was fleeting. The ruthless wolf's henchmen were apprehended by Xiao Yizhou's bodyguards in a flash. Xiao Yizhou walked up to the scarred man, stomping hard on the hand that held his gun. "Ah!" the man shrieked in agony. "Call ruthless wolf," Xiao Yizhou commanded coldly. The scarred man trembled as he dialed, the phone connected. "How is it? Did you catch the girl?" a hoarse male voice asked. Xiao Yizhou took the phone, his voice sounding like it came from hell. "Ruthless wolf, or should I call you Qin? The other end fell silent. "Daring to touch my woman, Xiao Yizhou's woman. Are you tired of living?" "Zia Xiao Yizhou," Ruthless Wolf's voice trembled slightly. "You're the Silver Wolf." "Silver Wolf? Sounds impressive. You have 24 hours to surrender. Otherwise, I will turn the southwest border into a wasteland. Trust me, I can do it." Xiao Yizhou crushed the phone. He turned to see me standing there, staring blankly at him. The ruthlessness in his eyes vanished, replaced by concern. "Are you scared of me?" He took a step towards me, intending to touch me, but then retracted his hand, fearing his blood would stain me. I looked at the wound on his arm, my heart aching. "Scared of your head?" I lunged, wrapping my arms around his neck, standing on my tiptoes to kiss him hard on the lips. The kiss tasted of blood and salty rainwater, yet it was passionate. "I don't care if you're the Silver Wolf or a gray wolf. I only know you're Xiao Yizhou, the one who just shielded me from a bullet with his own body." Xiao Yizhou froze for a second, then tightened his grip around my waist, passionately returning the kiss. "Good. Since you've said that, don't even think about escaping from me for the rest of your life." Around us, the subordinates in black suits unanimously turned their faces away, pretending to admire the moon and stars, even though it was pouring rain. "Ahem," the man in the suit from earlier lightly coughed. "Young master, the car is ready. Your injury needs to be treated." Xiao Yizhou released me, threw his jacket over my head to shield me from the rain. "Let's go home. Tonight is still long." I sat in the bulletproof limousine, gripping Xiao Yizhou's hand tightly. The Xiao family villa wasn't just a house, it was more like a castle. As soon as we stepped out of the car, dozens of bodyguards in black suits bowed low. "Welcome home, young master and young madam." I almost stumbled. "Young madam?" The information update speed of this organization is faster than 5G network. Xiao Yizhou said nothing, just wrapped his arm around my waist, guiding me directly into the private elevator that led to the basement, to what was called the command center. Zhou, your hand." I looked at the blood seeping through his white shirt, my heart burning with anxiety. "It's just a small wound," Xiao Yizhou said calmly, but his face was slightly pale from blood loss. Upon entering the underground medical room, I pushed the private doctor aside. "Let me do it." The doctor looked to Xiao Yizhou for instructions. Xiao Yizhou nodded, a smile curving his lips. "My wife wants to practice biology. Everyone, please leave." I was like, what? The room was left with just the two of us. I carefully cut his sleeve, using an alcohol-soaked cotton swab to disinfect the wound. The bullet had only grazed the soft tissue, but the cut was quite deep, making my heart ache. "Does it hurt?" I gently blew on the wound, my voice trembling. Xiao Yizhou stared at me, his eyes deep and burning. "It hurts. I need pain relief." "Where's the medicine?" "I'll get it," I said, intending to stand up. Xiao Yizhou pulled my hand, causing me to tumble into his arms again, falling again, but this time it was intentional. He leaned down and pecked my lips. "This is the most effective pain reliever." I blushed, lightly punching his chest. "Rogue, I'm serious." "I am very serious too." Xiao Yizhou rested his chin on my shoulder, his voice deep. "Xiaoyan, the ruthless wolf won't give up. The next 24 hours will be very dangerous. Are you scared?" I finished bandaging his arm, tying a cute little bow on his firm bicep. Then I looked straight into Xiao Yizhou's eyes. Scared of what? My childhood sweetheart is the silver wolf, and I'm the hacker queen. We're the perfect couple. He's the one who should be scared. Xiao Yizhou chuckled, ruffling my hair. All right, then tonight, husband and wife will drain the Eastern Sea together. An hour later, in the command center, Xiao Yizhou sat in the chairman's seat, a black suit jacket draped casually over his shoulders, exuding a regal and imposing aura. In front of him were dozens of screens displaying satellite maps, financial charts, and transportation routes along the southwest border. I sat beside him, clutching my familiar laptop, my fingers dancing across the keyboard. Report, young master, a subordinate entered. The ruthless wolf is mobilizing all remaining forces on the southwest border, preparing a suicide attack on our headquarters. He's offering $50 million for your head. 50 million? Xiao Yizhou raised an eyebrow, his face contemptuous. Is my head that cheap? Tell him at least 500 million, then I'll consider it. The room stifled laughter. Joe, where would he get 50 million? I suddenly spoke up, my eyes still glued to the screen. Qin Yu's account is frozen. All his old money laundering channels were blocked by us yesterday. Xiao Yizhou pondered. He has a secret black fund in Switzerland. It's his retirement money, he's never touched it. Switzerland, huh? I curled my lip, a mischievous smile appearing. Let's see how good Swiss bank security is. I began to type code. Xiao Yizhou didn't stop me. Instead, he gestured for his subordinates to be silent so I could concentrate. Infiltrating the firewall, bypassing the two-factor authentication system. Bingo, found it. On the big screen appeared a long account number with a balance of 200 million USD. Wow, arms dealing really is profitable. I clicked my tongue. But it's dirty money, it needs to be cleansed. What are you planning to do? Xiao Yizhou asked, his voice filled with interest. Charity donations. I pressed enter. Transaction processing. Transfer complete. All 200 million USD in Ruthless Wolf's account was broken down and transferred directly to children's charities, the Red Cross, and peace organizations worldwide. At the same time, at a secret base on the southwest border, Boss, it's over. Ruthless Wolf's accountant rushed in, his face pale as a ghost. The money in the black fund, it's all gone. What? Ruthless Wolf, who was cleaning his gun, almost shot himself in the foot. What did you say? Where's my $200 million? It was all transferred to charity. The transfer memo said Ruthless Wolf repents, accumulating merit for the next life. Ruthless Wolf roared furiously, smashing the table. Yan Luoyun, Xiao Yizhou, I'll kill you both. Back at the Xiao family villa, my wife is too amazing. Xiao Yizhou looked at the successful transaction notification, praising me without reservation. He casually peeled a grape and fed it to me. You flatter me, I giggled, my eyes crinkling. Now that he's penniless, will those mercenaries still fight for him? The answer was no. Just 15 minutes later, intelligence reported that Ruthless Wolf's faction was in disarray. The mercenaries, hearing their boss was bankrupt, turned tail and fled or surrendered. Ruthless Wolf was now left with only a few loyal, foolish henchmen. It's time to end this. Xiao Yizhou stood up, adjusting his collar, his eyes cold and sharp. Xiaoyan, wait for me here, I'm going to take out the trash. No, I stood up and followed, gripping his hand tightly. I'm coming with you. I want to see firsthand what fate awaits the person who dared to threaten my life. Xiao Yizhou looked at me, intending to refuse, but seeing the determination in my eyes, he sighed, smiling helplessly. All right, but you have to stand behind me. Promise. 3:00 a.m., the abandoned dock area west of the city. This was where Ruthless Wolf had arranged to meet for a decisive battle. He knew he had no way out and wanted to drag Xiao Yizhou down with him. It was still raining heavily, and the sea wind howled. Xiao Yizhou and I stepped out of the car, surrounded by hundreds of Xiao family bodyguards who had tightly sealed off the area. Ruthless Wolf stood in the middle of the empty warehouse, holding a detonator, his body wrapped in TNT explosives. Beside him, Qin Yu was tied up, his mouth gagged, his eyes wide with terror. Xiao Yizhou, you're here. Ruthless Wolf laughed maniacally. If I die, you two won't live peacefully either. I'll blow this whole place up. Blow it up, Xiao Yizhou calmly walked forward. Shield me from behind, try pressing the button. Ruthless Wolf gritted his teeth, his thumb pressing hard on the red button of the detonator. Nothing happened. He pressed it again, still silence. What's wrong? Dead battery. I poked my head out from behind Xiao Yizhou's back, teasing. Impossible, I made this detonator myself. Ruthless Wolf frantically patted the device. Don't bother, Xiao Yizhou said coldly. Your detonation frequency has been blocked by my wife 10 minutes ago. Now you're just an old man wrapped in dud firecrackers. I held up my tablet, the screen displaying the radio jamming software operating at full capacity. High-tech, old man, it's the 4 era, who still plays with handmade explosives. Ruthless Wolf completely collapsed. He dropped the detonator to the ground, falling into despair. Xiao Yizhou waved his hand, and the bodyguards immediately rushed forward to subdue Ruthless Wolf. Qin Yu, seeing his adopted brother arrested, let out muffled screams, his eyes pleading for help, but I just coldly glanced past him. Xiao Yizhou walked up to Ruthless Wolf, bent down, his voice cold as ice. The southwest border no longer welcomes you. Dahong Prison will be your retirement home. Don't worry, I'll make sure you're well taken care of. Then he turned to me, extending his hand. Let's go home, wife. We still have school tomorrow. I took his hand, smiling brightly. But tomorrow, school won't be peaceful anymore. With Xiao Yizhou's newly revealed identity and tonight's glorious achievements, we were surely destined to become legends of the high school. And more importantly, Xiao Yizhou had promised me one wish when I made it into the top 10. Now that I scored 150 points in math, I wondered what I should ask for. A diamond ring or a wedding right after graduation? Thinking of this, my heart pounded. Having a childhood sweetheart like him in this lifetime truly wasn't in vain. After the terrifying night at the dock, I thought I'd have to face countless rumors about Xiao Yizhou's underworld identity at school the next day. But no, the power of capital and the Xiao family's hidden influence were truly terrifying. All information about the gunfight, the helicopter, or the Ruthless Wolf was tightly suppressed. The newspapers only reported briefly. Major smuggling ring busted at southwest border, many dangerous individuals arrested. At school, Qin Yu and Songya vanished as if they had never existed. Students only whispered that the Qin family went bankrupt due to illegal business activities, and the entire family had fled abroad. In reality, they were serving time in prison. Xiao Yizhou remained the cold academic god, his white shirt pristine, wearing his intellectual gold-rimmed glasses. Only I knew that beneath that facade of a model student was the Silver Wolf, feared by the entire underworld. A week later, the monthly exam results were announced. The bulletin board was crowded with people. I didn't even need to push. The crowd automatically parted a path when they saw Big Sister Yan Luoyun appear. The effect of the Qin Yu barking incident was still strong. I looked up at the top of the honor roll. Rank 1, Xiao Yizhou 745, 750 points. Rank 2, Yan Luoyun 743, 750 points. I clicked my tongue, only 2 points difference. I got a perfect 150 in math, but in literature. My domineering CEO soul couldn't write those flowery, sappy sentences, so I lost points for emotional expression. What a shame. The familiar minty breath wafted over my neck. Xiao Yizhou stood right behind me, one hand in his pocket, the other casually resting on my waist, proclaiming his ownership to the world. Shame about what? I turned around, raising an eyebrow. Second place in the entire grade, I exceeded your top 10 target, didn't I? Remember your promise. Xiao Yizhou chuckled softly, his eyes filled with such doting affection that several female students nearby clutched their chests and almost fainted. I remember. After school, meet me on the rooftop. I'll pay my debt. The school rooftop at sunset was breathtakingly beautiful. The wind blew through my hair, painting the space golden with the last rays of sunlight. Xiao Yizhou leaned against the railing, removing his glasses to reveal his phoenix eyes, beautiful to the point of being sinful. Tell me, young Miss Yan, what do you want? A limited edition handbag, a supercar, or shares in Xiao Corporation? I walked closer to him, pressing him against the railing, pushing again. But this time, I initiated it. I reached out to adjust his collar, my voice serious. Hey Joe, I'm not short on money. My family is overflowing with wealth, you know that. Then what do you want? Xiao Yizhou lowered his head, his forehead touching mine. I want you. I hesitated for a moment, then looked directly into his eyes. Promise me one thing. From now on, whether you're Xiao Yizhou, the academic god, or the silver wolf who commands storms, you are never allowed to get hurt again. Your life was saved by me, even though you took the bullet for me, so it belongs to me. You have no right to damage it. Xiao Yizhou froze. Perhaps he expected me to ask for a material gift or a cheesy romantic promise. His eyes flickered intensely. A moment later, he chuckled, his deep laugh reverberating in his chest. Yan Luoyun, you certainly know how to make things difficult for others. He took my hand and placed it on his left chest, where his heart was beating strongly. All right, I promise. From now on, this body, this heart, this life, they all belong to you. If you tell me to live, I wouldn't dare to die. Good boy, I patted his cheek, satisfied. Then, Xiao Yizhou suddenly changed his tone, becoming dangerous. I've fulfilled your request. Now it's my turn to ask for something in return, isn't it? What return? I was bewildered. Xiao Yizhou said nothing, just pulled out a dark red velvet box from his jacket pocket. He knelt on one knee, right there on the high school rooftop, under the brilliant sunset. Yan Luoyun, I originally intended to wait until after university graduation to do this, but after that night, I realized life has too many uncertainties. I don't want to wait another second. He opened the velvet box. Inside was a custom-designed diamond ring, engraved with a silver wolf embracing a rose. We missed each other for 18 years because of your foolishness and my arrogance. I don't want to miss the next 80 years. Yan Luoyun, marry me? As soon as we're of legal age, we'll go register. I looked at the ring, then at his handsome face, waiting anxiously. Tears involuntarily streamed down my face. In my previous life, I was lonely at the peak of glory, dying in coldness. In this life, heaven compensated me with a Xiao Yizhou, a man who loved me more than his own life. Hey Joe, you're proposing at school? Aren't you afraid the dean will catch you? I cried and laughed simultaneously. He's busy guarding the gate, Xiao Yizhou winked. Besides, my dad just bought this school yesterday. Now I'm the owner's son, who dares to stop me? I burst out laughing, extending my hand. Put it on, you idiot. Xiao Yizhou's trembling hand slid the ring onto my ring finger. It fit perfectly. He stood up, hugged me tightly, and spun me around in the air. Our happy laughter echoed throughout the schoolyard. 5 years later, Tsinghua University graduation ceremony. I, in my graduation gown, holding my excellent degree, posed for photos with my parents. My dad had aged a bit but was still dapper, and my mom cried through an entire box of tissues, overwhelmed with emotion. Wife, a familiar voice called out. Xiao Yizhou walked over, holding a huge bouquet of roses. He had officially taken over the Xiao family and the merged Yan Corporation, becoming the most powerful man in the business world. But in front of me, he was still the same boy from years ago. Congratulations on our graduation. Xiao Yizhou kissed my forehead. Thank you, husband. I took the bouquet, my eyes crinkling in a smile. Let's go. Xiao Yizhou took my hand. Go where? The Civil Affairs Bureau. Xiao Yizhou raised his watch. We have 30 minutes before closing time. I've already made an appointment. Today, you will officially belong to me by law. So urgent, I teased. Xiao Yizhou leaned close to my ear, whispering words that made my face flush crimson. The wedding night debt from 5 years ago. Tonight, I'm collecting both principal and interest. I lightly punched him, but my hand squeezed his tighter. We walked together down the tree-lined path, the golden sunlight brilliant, our future wide open. My youth had passion, falls, but most importantly, it had Xiao Yizhou. People say youth owes them a boy from when they were 17. Luckily for me, I had a second life. I used both lives to capture that boy. Otherwise, I would have missed him too, that boy from when I was 17. Heh. This time, I'm sure I'll hold his hand until the ends of the earth.